If you are looking to hop on board for adventure, we may have the job for you. The Bluenose II has put out the call to work as a deckhand on that iconic vessel. So this means living and working on the ship for just under 6 months, touring the coast of Nova Scotia. Phil Watson is captain of the Bluenose II. He has been for over 20 years. Our colleague Jessie Bruce spoke with Captain Watson earlier about what it takes to get this job.
So you've put out the call for deckhand applications for the 2026 sailing year. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're looking for in a candidate to be a deckhand on this, famous ship?
Yeah, so principally we're looking for nice young Nova Scotians that will represent the ship and the province well, and that are willing to be sort of outside their comfort zone and try new things and to work hard, and then to dedicate 6.5 months to the ship.
So that sounds great. What are some of the nuts and bolts of, we need you to be in this age range or have these qualifications?
Yeah, so we need them to be a minimum of 19 years old, and then the upper age range is upwards around 30.
And do you have to have any sailing experience?
No sailing experience required whatsoever. We're looking for people that have hopefully done some hard work or have some interesting things on their resume. It helps if you've done public speaking before. It helps if you've been a tree planter or grown up on a farm. Yeah, all kinds of people that we look for. But principally it comes down to sort of a curiosity and a willingness to work hard.
So there must be quite a bit of training and a learning curve for people taking on this experience.
It is, and it's completely immersive. So, the crew live on the ship, so they show up generally the 1st of April, and they have to learn the whole language of the ship, so that, the walls are called ceilings, and the floor could be a deck, and, aft and forward and port and starboard, and so they have to learn the language, and then we refit the entire ship from the waterline to the top of the mast. So that means long days, generally 7 days a week. And it's painting and varnishing and scraping and, just to service all the wooden pulley blocks on the ship. That's a week's work by the whole crew to take every block apart and then to hang them up, and then to, 3 coats of varnish, and then all the spars get varnished, and you have to bend sails on. So it's that first 2 months of work is intensive.
And then past that first 2 months, what does it look like to be a deckhand on the Bluenose II?
Yeah, so after our first 2 months, so the crew are put through safety training courses and first aid courses and all that. So then we would start our sort of public access season. So this year we had 60,000 people walk across the decks. We took 4,600 people sailing, and they all interact with the crew. So that for a deckhand, you could be talking to those people, telling them about your life on the ship, telling them about the history of the ship, or it could be, out of sight of land, going up and down the coast, or anchored in the cove of a small fishing village. It's really widely varied. Sometimes they'll be up all night and expected to work the next day. And then throughout all of that, they still have to keep up with the maintenance of the ship, with the painting and the varnishing and the sail repair and all of that.
What kind of reasons do you hear from your applicants or people who do go forward as deckhands on the ship for why they thought this was going to be their next gig?
Yeah. So some of them have family connections to schooners or to fishing, so they would like to sort of reconnect with their family. Some of them are looking for an adventure, something to do. Maybe they're taking a gap year out of high school, or they're taking a semester off out of university. Some of them are looking just to do something completely different with their lives, or they've seen the ship around and they want to come and learn more about it, or they've talked with crew, or maybe even they have friends or family that were crew members and are connecting that way.
Do you get a lot of applicants?
Not as many as you would think. People generally think that we would have thousands of applicants, and it's generally, hundreds, and not a whole lot of hundreds. And it's a big commitment of time. And then some people just don't know that it's available. So we generally try and fill with Nova Scotians first, and then we'll reach across Canada. And so we take a couple people from across Canada every year as well, which is great because they share the story in their communities as well. Yeah, we had two sisters from Calgary, actually, that worked with us for a couple of years, and they spent their time after they left the ship. They would go into schools and talk to kids about the Bluenose and the legacy and the icon that the ship is. It's a great outreach program for us.
You must see people really develop friendships and bonds through working so close with each other over time.
That is the case. They make friends that they will keep for the rest of their lives. And we do an alumni cruise every year, and we see people that were shipmates in the 70s, and they're still together, and they're still laughing and telling stories of the time that they had on the ship, and that is great to see.
What do you think is the biggest takeaway that people have after this experience?
There's two that I like to see. I like to see self-confidence. That's these young people have been put in a position of doing things that they have never done before, and probably outside their comfort zone. So whether that's giving a talk to a group of people, or working aloft, or being on deck in a storm, I hope that they develop self-reliance and self-confidence. And then I hope that they have the idea of service to a community. So for us to be on the ship, we really feel that we're in service to the icon that is the Bluenose, and we're the caretakers of the ship. And I hope that they take that idea and can apply that to their community, whatever that community is. To be in service of something that's bigger than you are.
And what would you say to somebody who is listening to this and is maybe considering, oh, maybe I'll apply?
Chuck your name in the hat. But it's a big commitment, and you need to really think, I want to do this. I want to do this, because you're going to work 7 days a week and long hours, and you're going to be away from family and friends, but you're going to have a life-changing adventure. It's the coolest job in the world, and even if people are not, you don't go on the Bluenose, there's all kinds of other sail training organizations and big ships out there that take young people. And any time spent on the water is beneficial. It's great for the soul, and it's good for your personal growth. So I would encourage people just to, whether it's a boat building school at the Maritime Museum in Halifax, or working on boats in Ontario or in the West Coast, it's a fantastic thing.
Phil Watson is captain of Bluenose II, speaking with our colleague Jessie Bruce. If you are interested in applying, you can go to bluenose.novascotia.ca.
This is